Thank you for joining us again as the Christmas holiday is now past and we're starting to look toward this new year and what's going to be going on to help us all. So we've got some guests today that I'll introduce in just a moment, but I do want to start with a couple of viewer comments here. I tell you, we'd love to hear from you. This is from Tonga Christie, and Tonga Christie is from a little town called Prairieville, Louisiana, and watches over the air, and she wants to say, thanks for the honeymooners. The lineup is getting even better. My husband and I often mention that due to your programming, we don't miss cable at all. We enjoy the shows that we grew up with. I'd like to ask if it's possible to add Night Gallery to your programming because the old Vincent Price, Peter Cushing's horror movies on Friday and Saturday nights. Thanks again for giving us some real entertainment. Our society is so filled with reality shows and grandchildren, and we hope you guys are still around for them to see real television the way it really used to be. So, hey, we appreciate those comments, and we'll feature one on the show here in the future if you'll send it to us. And how do you do that? Email me at WLFT.com, and I will be sure that it gets on the air. That's an easy email for you. Okay, so we want to thank Billy Ann's Flowers for the beautiful arrangement, which you'll see in just a moment on our fireplace. And it's nice and red and white because it's right at the end of the Christmas season, so it's just kind of fitting that it'd be setting on the fireplace. Let's go to this week's guest because we have some financial news that we're going to share with you as you start planning your new year. On the set with me is Harry Doucette. He is worth First Financial of Baton Rouge. I know I live here now. I'm supposed to say Baton Rouge. Sorry about that. Right. But he is Quality Business Consulting and Accounting Services. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Fry. I appreciate you having us here.
Now, you're originally from Gulfport, I understand, but you live in Baton Rouge and been here for quite a while?
Yeah, moved here in 1976.
That's a while.
That's a while.
That is a while. All right. So tell me exactly what does your company do?
Well, basically, it's a business consulting company. We've converted the company to helping local businesses file claims with BP. And what we do is we've got some salespeople, and you'll see some advertising, and we take your financial statements, your profit and loss statements, send them through a 900-something page set of rules to be sure you qualify. And then once we do that, then we turn around and submit that for you to BP. Right now, we just hit $40 million yesterday in claims for over 100 businesses here in town. I got one real happy guy in Macombs getting $1.4 million.
Now, what I understand is, from what I've read on the online and in the news, it's not necessarily that you were on the Gulf Coast with a business that was devastated, but now the claims are actually coming inland for people that were affected because of that?
That's correct. A lot of people don't realize that. I mean, it's the whole state of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and even part of the Florida coast, and even Texas all the way to Beaumont. I actually have a salesman up in Shreveport that's working with some people right now. And we don't know how you can really measure how you affected, but a lot of people may have worked offshore, and therefore they lost their jobs, or you may have some people that maybe got the hours cut back because of the oil field business, stuff like that. So a lot of businesses are affected, and BP knows they made some mistakes, and they're trying to set the money aside. There's a good article November 1st in the Advocate basically says that if you qualify, we will pay.
How many percentage-wise, what are you seeing as far as false claims? Because that's your job, is to kind of filter through it. You don't want to represent someone that's
No. Everything we do has got to match the federal tax returns. So we just be sure that the profit and loss statements match that. As far
as ideally, you take what they were making before the spill, and we see a large reduction in their income. That's proof enough, right, or part of the proof that it was tied to.
What it really boils down to is what happened after April 2010 to December 2010, and compare that to maybe we have to have 3 consecutive months. Could be June, July, and August of 2010, and compare that to 2009. Well, some people had a pretty good 9, so then you can take the same 3 months, 9 and 8, same thing. But most everybody had a very good 7 before the economy and everything kicked in. So we can take an average of those same 3 months, 7, 8, and 9, compare them to 10, And if you had only 3 months, so even though you might have had a very good 2010, if you had 3 months that you were off, you automatically qualify.
I totally understand. So these losses, do they pay right away? I mean, is this something that takes a while? Is it part of a overall claims process that we all got to wait for?
Yes, I mean, I've had some people say, you know, I don't really believe this is going to happen. This guy yesterday got his notice for the 1.4 million. Still doesn't believe it, but the money will be deposited in his account today.
Wow.
But it takes us probably a couple of weeks because the law, the computation is 900-something pages long. So it takes us 2 or 3 weeks to go through, get everything right. We've now spent over $100,000 and got a software program developed out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that is the same thing that BP uses. Their claim center in Hammond, when we send it to them, all they do is cut and paste, and they check our numbers. They take our numbers, break them all down, do it all over again, and then analyze it. And answer your question, probably out of 10 deals we sent, 9 of them have all been approved as we sent them.
So if a guy lost his wife in 2010 and had to go through the divorce process and pay out a lot of money, could he blame it on BP possibly?
Possibly if the numbers add up. They don't ask why.
They don't ask
They don't
why.
ask if the wife
You
took all
lost
the money
money?
or whatever. It doesn't matter.
The casinos back in your hometown are probably saying
Well, I
they
mean,
were hurt pretty bad. I mean, all of that area was just.
all that area. But I mean, the thing is, this would be great for the state, and there's so many different people don't really realize that the money's there for them. BP says we'll pay, but we can't pay unless you've claimed. So if they'll do it, hopefully we'll get this money back to the state, and it'll get the cycle going again.
So who you want to reach out to today and say, look, you're the people that we're not hearing from. You're the ones that need to call us today and get this information.
Just basically any business. There are something like 38,000 businesses just in the Baton Rouge area, which is more than we can even handle. But I mean, anybody that has a business that can look at their numbers, they can just look at their tax returns, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And if they see that 2010 was less than 11, and also less than 8 and 9,
right,
then they'll qualify.
They got to qualify.
And to give us the numbers, BP pays for all the accounting numbers, and then we have a fee at the end if you get paid. And if you don't have a claim, it doesn't cost you a dime.
I know we're almost out of time with you, but I do want to ask one more thing. Aside from this, what else do you do? What does your firm offer? Surely you were around long before the BP.
Well, I wasn't, but the firm was. The firm was started in 2006, and it's a financial consultant where the guys would actually go into the business and look at your business, analyze your financial statements, try to figure out a way to maybe help you buy supplies better, save a little bit of money, and perhaps maybe make more money. So maybe you're not selling any more product, but if you're doing better with managing your expenses, you can make more money.
So if a business is really trying to make it, you're a firm that they can hire to come in, look at what they're doing, how they're spending their money, how they're running their operation.
That's
and
correct.
give them advice.
That's correct.
Well, good. I got a couple clients for it, so don't
good.
leave before we get out of here. All right. Tell you what, folks. This is A Better Life you're watching, and I think that if you stay tuned, we'll have another exciting guest. But I definitely want to thank these people. If you want more information about what they do, and if you've got a business you want to turn around, here's the graphic. Email me at WLFT.com, and I will answer all of your questions as far as how to get hold of our guest, because information is the key to success. So remember that, okay? All right, so we're going to get out of here and come back with another exciting guest after you hear a word from some people who care about our show, A Better Life. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. 2012 is an exciting year in broadcasting. WLFT has been bringing you the best in religious and family programming for over 10 years. Your new digital television allows you to do a lot more, including gaming, internet, and there's over 20 free TV stations you can now pick up over the air. Soon there'll be over 30 channels here in Baton Rouge, so mark the first of each calendar month to rescan your TV. Lots of free entertainment. Rescan Baton Rouge. Hey, I'm Dr. Fry. Welcome back to another segment of A Better Life. And I definitely want to thank the last guest and thank the sponsors that you just saw in the commercials. But, you know, we're going into a new year. And just to jump back a little bit to 2012, I got this lovely letter from Brenda London. She's out of Baton Rouge. And she says that her senior citizens group, I guess, belong to all kind of meat. Most people over 55, is what she writes, are very tired of lust, sex, and gangs and TV shows. I'm aware that you are not showing these type of shows, and I just want to suggest that you add some movies. My club and I would like to see some old Tarzan and martial arts movies. We're so tired of movies about gangs, drug lords, and sex that is showing up. We appreciate you having shows that show what's happening in our community, like this show. And we are fed up with reality, but would love to see some movies. Well, MeTV, of course, is a sitcom channel, and we won't see any movies on our channel, but maybe in the future you'll find something that you like, at least in a 1 hour format, so we hope you'll stay tuned. We want to thank, of course, Billy Ann's Flowers for the lovely arrangements that you see on the set. And thank all of our sponsors for being a part of this. But right now, let's go into 2013. You've thought about buying a house, and you've thought about what kind of a home can I afford, what's going on with the interest rates. I got a guy with a crystal ball, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what his take is on real estate. Arnold Cardoff, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Fry. Appreciate that.
How long have you been a realtor?
Been a realtor for 9 years, 2003.
We've seen a lot of changes since then. I mean, especially now, the interest rates are probably lower than you've ever seen.
Absolutely. They're lower than probably anybody has ever seen that's alive today.
So you specialize in what?
I specialize in residential real estate.
You know, that's important. I mean, a lot of people go to a doctor and they have a problem with their throat and they have to go to an ENT specialist or something. Realtors, it's important that people understand that there's realtors, that specialize in just homes, and if you're wanting to buy a business or something, you need to seek out a specialist. You agree?
I totally agree. Absolutely. It's a shame that they don't kind of box us in a little tighter than I'd like to see us boxed in.
You get a license, you can sell anything.
Sell anything you want. Sell commercial, you can sell industrial. You're licensed to sell in the state.
Now, you said you specialize in real estate. So homes?
Residential real estate.
Residential
yes,
homes.
Sir.
So what is the first piece of advice you give somebody that's a first home buyer?
The first piece of advice, I would say, I would not jump the gun and go out looking for a house before you ever get started. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever been in a store and you see a nice coat on the rack and it's like, man, I'm going to pick that up, and you pick it up, you put it on, and you say, oh, I'm going to get this. You go to the counter and all of a sudden you pull the price tag out, and the price tag is out of your ballpark. Mm-hmm. So the first important step is to find a real estate agent that has been around, that can recommend several mortgage people, that can pre-qualify you so you shop in the right market. Because after you put on that new coat and you find out that you can only afford one that is half the value.
You're wasting everybody's time. I mean,
if you go it's a bad taste for you.
And it's a bad taste for you too. I mean, if I contact you and say I want to buy a house, and you say, are you pre-qualified? And I say, yes, I can get the money. But without having the letters and the actual documents from the lenders that says this person pre-qualified for $175,000, it's really a waste of everybody's time.
It is, and it's interesting. Even those letters sometimes, depending on where they come from, cannot be accurate.
Right.
And you get a little further down. But, and it's important that the relationship is a two-way relationship, that you're comfortable with the realtor and that he's also comfortable with you. Because you want to be communicated to the way that is best for you.
Right.
Some realtors, they don't like texting. Some realtors, they don't like emailing. Some realtors don't like any of it.
Right.
But to service the client properly, you got to listen to what they are asking, and you get information. A good real estate agent is going to put enough information on the table so a person don't go through the hills and the valleys.
Right.
It's going to take care of not only pre-qualifying a person, but what happens after you pre-qualified. You find a home. What about an offer? There's several moving parts that are in writing a proper contract, inspections, appraisals, those kind of things.
I think the best advice that was given to me in the past was never use the realtor that's listing the house to be your realtor to buy it.
That's
like having the prosecuting attorney be your defense attorney.
You know, it's got to be understood if that's the case. That would be considered a dual agent. Now, are there benefits sometimes to it? Yes. All the time? Not necessarily. First of all, if you do call the sign in the yard, that's what an agent would call that, calling the sign, you want to make sure that that guy is going to disclose full representation, because legally there's things that can and cannot be done, and you want to get all that on the table on the very front end. You want someone to represent you on your behalf. You know, the way I've always looked at when I meet a client, because I want them to understand, I'm not out there to beat up a seller.
Right.
Or I'm not out there to beat up a buyer if we're selling the house. What we're trying to do is put together a fair value so it's a win-win. Now, some agents, they lean the other way. It's like, we're going to get every penny we can for you. Well, you know what? In the end, you've got to sit across from that client. And if you're the buyer and you're buying that house, and 8 or 9 months goes down the road and something goes wrong, and you realize the only person that's going to have the information is the person you bought it from, if you beat him up, he's probably not going to take that call.
Right. I totally understand. Well, I'm going to challenge you. Barbara and I got a motor coach, and we're looking for a place for, you know, to buy a little piece of land and, you know, have a place. And you or any other realtor out there, we have put that out on the street since we've been here for about 1.5 years. And I tell you what, people send us some of the most ridiculous pieces of property because they don't listen. You know, if you have a 40-foot motor coach, it has to have a driveway to get a 40-foot motor coach into it.
That's correct.
So anyway, you're right. Listen to the client. And that's in sales of any type.
Absolutely.
But tell you what, if you want a good realtor, this guy is a solid rock. So you want to reach out to him. His information was on the screen, but of course you can email me at WLFT.com, and I will hook you up with this man. Thanks a lot for being on.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fry.
I appreciate it. All right, when we come back, we have, who's our next guest? Daryl Lee is going to be with us, so stay tuned. Right now, a word from our sponsors of A Better Life. We'll be right back.
Promoting your business in these competitive times can be tough. You need to use everything possible to stand out in the crowd. Your vehicle is an asset most companies overlook when advertising. Now you can promote just like major companies by wrapping your vehicle with eye-catching graphics. Frogskin Graphics wraps boats, cars, trucks, and buildings. No job too large or small. Full-color banners, window graphics, and signs designed, printed, and installed by professionals. 683-9595.
I'm Dr. Fry. Welcome back to A Better Life. I tell you what, this segment's very important. I appreciate you staying tuned with us. And thanks for the realtor that was just on. That was some very exciting news. One thing I forgot to ask him is, where is the best place to invest in property in this town? We'll have to have him back next year and ask him about that. I like this motto because of this next guest. Change the man, change the family, save the community. That fits in on our show, doesn't it? Show's about having a better life, and I want you to give a warm welcome, rather, to Mr. Lee. What's your first name?
Daryl.
Daryl Lee. Nice
Yes,
to meet
sir.
you, Daryl.
Nice to
Welcome
meet
to the
you,
show.
Dr.
All right,
Fry.
so this is called CAR, Correct and Recovery. Change the man, change the family, save the community. Explain what it is.
We started this program out working with ex-offenders, people coming out of the criminal justice system. We see a big part of the problems that's going on in many communities is the father is not present, the man is not present. So if we can get him back on the scene and get him cleaned up and doing what he's supposed to do, taking his responsibilities serious, you'll change that family. And by changing that family, you'll save that community.
You're based in Baton Rouge.
Yes, sir. We're located on Florida Boulevard.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been in the prison ministry for 18 years. I've been running this company since February of 2008.
The prison ministry, my wife used to be part of the prison ministry back in Charleston, and they would go and read scriptures and pray with inmates in prisons. Is that basically where you started?
Yes, sir. We went in with a mentoring program. We have a substance abuse program in Parish Prison. We actually go in and teach 12 classes of substance abuse. And we bring mentors and connect the inmates with the mentor while they're in prison and transition them out of the prison so they'll have somebody to connect with once they come out.
So these are young men that basically are in prison for a short amount of time that you're dealing with?
Short amount, yeah. These are most of the programs that we're working with in the prison are pre-release programs, so they have 6 months or less time to do before they are released back into society.
Self-esteem being the number one problem that most men have?
Self-esteem is one. Lack of planning is a big problem that they have. They want a lot of stuff, but they don't want to go through what it takes to have the stuff that they desire. So
Kinda
what we
like television. A lot of people want to be on television, but don't understand that 30 years of schooling and learning and things
That's
needed to get
exactly
to be
right.
expertise at it.
Yes, sir.
Everybody
That's
watches
exactly
those television commercials, says, I can buy that car, but they go down to get it, it's like, whoop, can't afford the insurance.
it's
Not
a-
the car, just the
it's-
insurance.
Yeah, it's a big stop. It's a big reality check.
Right.
So instead of killing dreams, we try to put the big dream on the shelf and give them steps to work their way up to that dream, and that's where the mentor comes in at. And a mentor actually connects with this person for a year. They commit for a year. If they decide to go longer, they can. And the mentor is just there to give them good advice on how to get connected
So
back
where do you
into
get your
society.
mentors?
We, churches.
So a man wants to be a mentor.
Yes, sir. Somebody
Gives
who
you a
wants.
call, says, I want to be a mentor. Does he go through a training process?
Yes,
What?
sir. We do have a 4-month training process before somebody is released to
Do what you do.
do what we do. Yes, sir.
Because
So-
it's, I mean, you can't just, you do it for a month and go, I don't like this, and walk. Then you've created more problems than you.
That's exactly right. These guys and ladies that we deal with, they are used to being rejected and turned down and turned off. So whoever comes into this profession, it has to be a heartfelt thing. It can't be something that I want to do just because somebody else is doing it.
Is it strictly volunteer?
It's strictly volunteer.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you are interested, you've got the information on the screen where you can get hold of you and find out more information about being a part of it.
Yes, sir.
But what is the number one thing that you'd like to tell the people at home that if this is in your heart, you'd be good at this?
If this is in your heart, you will be good at this, but
What has to be in their heart for them to be good at this?
well, they have to have a love and a desire to help somebody who's struggling. It can be somebody who's homeless, just, somebody who's hurting in a way that that you can give them the best advice that you can possibly give them to move them forward.
So a mentor doesn't necessarily take them into their home. I mean,
No.
what does a mentor do?
A mentor is not a cab driver. They're not a bank account. They're not somebody that you just come to for stuff. They're somebody that you communicate with for good advice. I'm stuck. I don't know where to go from here. Usually, when a man or a woman gets stuck in life, they just don't know what they're supposed
Place
to be
to
doing
turn to
next.
get a piece of advice.
Exactly, and
That's
that's
a
what
good
that
program.
mentor is there
That's a
for.
good program.
Yes, sir.
How many, just quick, we got less than a minute, but how many different people is in your organization now?
Right now, we have 10 ladies that's committed to, 12 ladies that's committed to going into parish prison every Sunday evening, and they stay in there for 2 hours, and they connect with about 30 women, and they transition out of a class, so it's 30 women per class.
That's great.
So, and on the men's side, I have 3 men that actually go in about
So you
4
need
times.
more men.
We need more men,
Yeah,
definitely.
we got that's, and I can understand that.
Yes.
Wish you the best of luck, and I thank you for
Thank
being
you
on
so
the
much
show.
for this opportunity,
You
Dr.
bet.
Fry.
Folks, I tell you what, that is something you definitely want to find out more information about, so you can email me, and I will lead you right down the path to get involved with this. What kind of thing could you do that would help a man save his life, his family, which in turn saves our community? And that's what it's all about. Okay, folks? Tell you what, till next time, I want you to have a better life through Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching.